What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is July 1st of 2019. Well, folks, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's video, I want to spend some time to not only talk about the Bitcoin correction, but also dive into some levels that I'm looking to add into, as well as some levels I'm looking to add to, and if price stops correcting and continues to go upward. And then outside of that, we've got a wide range of other important news topics to talk about in cryptocurrency markets. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the overall market analysis. Over the last 24 hours, we can see Bitcoin is down to $10,900, and this is a 6% correction following again a very strong rally over the last few months. We've had a few days of continued sell-off from the peak around 13,800. However, as Bitcoin has started to correct, we are starting to see a lot of altcoins fare well. Now, this isn't the full-on liquidity exit out of Bitcoin into altcoins, at least from what I can analyze. We do have some altcoins that are not only in the green in this case, or outpacing Bitcoin, but we do have some that are actually up in this market where Bitcoin's going down. And that's momentum plays, for example, like Holochain, Quant, Nulls, Kimono, and even BitTorrent and Engine Coin. But as we take a look down the list, we can see that most altcoins are still in the red, guys. They're still losing out in this market. They're not having the huge rebound that a lot of people expected they would. So what I think this is that, again, we have some overextended players like Chainlink, in this case, that is running it really well, as well as Energy and Litecoin that have been leaders of the market, as well as Grin. But I think a lot of this is really just, again, Again, we're just going through a correction period here for Bitcoin. We're not at the full stage here where we've gone up back to the highs at 20,000, where we can really see a lot of liquidity exit out of Bitcoin and into altcoins. Again, the key factor to take into mind is that the higher that price goes on Bitcoin, the more valuable the market capital is in this case, the more valuable there is in the sense of the more value there is in the sense of liquidity. Sorry, I'm a little stuffed up, guys. The more value there is in the sense of liquidity that can flush out into altcoins, that can go to speculate directly into altcoin markets. And again, I want people to keep in mind that in this next altcoin cycle, I have no doubt there's going to be, we've already seen it in this bear market, there are still 5-10x plays in the altcoin space. There's always going to be speculation. But the fact of the matter is that this is not going to be as dramatic as it was before, percentage-wise. We are still going to see a lot of great plays, but it's going to be much more isolated. I don't think it's going to be across the board like it was last time. So those are some key things to take away. Now, in the sense of valuations, we're down from 369 billion down to 318 billion, cutting off a pretty decent chunk of what we gained over the last few weeks, bringing us down towards a few weeks ago back in June. In this case, again, possibly breaking down below 300 billion. I don't know if I see us breaking down to that level. I think with us going down to around 9,000 to 10,000 for Bitcoin, and altcoins faring quite well, possibly gaining a little bit of dominance comparative to Bitcoin, we could hold at the $300 billion mark. And that would be a nice corrective period, cutting off about $70 billion in valuation. Now we can see Bitcoin dominance as well, dropping from 65% downward towards 61.3%. Again, finally starting to see a change of tone here, a final, kind of peak out here for Bitcoin dominance, I think, and we could start to see again, well, actually I wouldn't say a final peak out here. We might have one more turnover again if we start to test up towards 20,000, but at least for the short term, again, I think we've got a time period where altcoins are getting a little bit of relief. I think we are going to set a third final high here for Bitcoin dominance though, before we get a serious altcoin flush, and that'll be when Bitcoin goes to 20,000. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the chart here, guys. Bitcoin over the last few minutes has continued the sell side. Since I last looked at it, we've got a nice little hourly candle here dropping from 10,900 down to 10,590. So again, even just a dramatic amount of price change from what we were looking at here on CoinPaprika. But let's go ahead and see what the chart is telling us. So the major thing you want to look for here in the next few hours is to see if we're going to break below this range here where we had support around 10,400. But, again, we can't see it just yet. We have to wait until, the market decides that. But it does look like it's getting pretty decisive on its direction. And I think that this correction is going to be quite a sharp one because of the fact that we've had such a parabolic rally. Now, what are the ranges that we can look for, guys? Well, the range I'm looking for here is between two key even levels, 10,000 to 9,000 here. And I'm not going to get too picky about getting it at that low range or waiting for 6,000 or 7,000. As much as I'd like to see that, guys, I mean, we have to talk about how much of a correction that's going to be. If we were to get a correction down to the 6 or 7K range, this is talking about a 50% correction. We usually don't historically see that with Bitcoin. Then again, some people would make the argument that we historically haven't seen Bitcoin come out of its, consolidation or accumulation phase with a 333% rally like we saw, right? I mean, this is pretty quick to exit out, and this is a very short accumulation period for Bitcoin. So again, we might get something like that. To be fair, if we do get a correction of 40, 50K, I'm going to work as hard as I can to have some cash on the side to hopefully pack in and buy some extra Bitcoin. But the fact of the matter is that if we were to get down to this range of 9,000, the reason why I'm confident on this price being a target on where we can see Bitcoin go is because it's going to lead us towards a 35% correction, which is going to be very fitting in the sense that we tend to see 30 to 40% corrections in the past with Bitcoin in its previous cycles, and that's right in the middle of that range. So I'd like to see it. Not to mention as well, we also held support around this range, not only here before we took off, but also around here. This was previous resistance. So it'd be good to see it as support. So again, I think this is the range we could look for here. And the reason I have this boxed in range here between July and August is I think we're going to set the low soon, guys. This market's moving very, very quick. And I think the correction will be very quick as well. But the rebound will follow through as well. Buyers, for example, if people are willing to buy Bitcoin between 12,000 to 13,000, they're sure as hell going to be eager to buy it around 9,000 to 8,000, right? That's the whole saying is, if you loved it at this price, you're sure as hell going to love it at this price as well. So I know, again, it's not the 6K level a lot of us were hoping for, but that's just at least where I'm waiting for. You guys can wait if you want. The key fact of the matter is that I have two levels that I'm watching. I'm watching in this range. If Bitcoin comes in this range and starts to decline through, I'm going to hopefully wait, get it around 9,000. But if it starts to curve up and touch the top of the box after entering in, meaning if it goes back above 10,000, I'm going to force into the order. I'm going to buy into the market. And then along with that as well, the other level that I'm looking for is if we don't decline below 10K and we start to rise back up here above this line, as much as I'm anticipating for this correction to go through, we might bounce up and then come back down. I have a buy order as well in case we go to 11,500. So again, wouldn't be the optimal level that I want, but I'm keeping open to it as well. I just know that I have my level set for when I want to enter in back to Bitcoin. I am building up some cash on the side, and hopefully we'll be able to add into our positions. And I think that's what you guys should focus on as well. In this accumulation phase, don't try to get it at the best price. Just simply focus on building up your position before the rocket ship takes off. That's the key lesson here. You don't want to wait for levels too much. Again, that's if you want a long Bitcoin. I'm not advising you guys buy Bitcoin, but you guys get to determine that for yourself. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our sponsor CoinMarketCal. Take a look over any big market events coming up. We've got the Narwhal release for NKN. I know some people out there who are big fans of NKN as a protocol. There's also a really stacked team on the project as well. Harmony One having its mainnet launch on July 1st, or even possibly the earlier part of today. This was based off of a tweet. You guys can check the source to see it for yourself. Along with that as well, we've got not too many big updates here on page 1 or page 2. If we're taking a look at page 3, there's a BitThumb listing for Hycon. And then outside of that, there is a hard fork for Vite. This was one of the big ICOs, and even one of the projects we've kept up with for a very long time. It was one of the first projects I talked about here on the channel, Syscoin, having proof of ZDAG. So I think this is going to be a new type of framework for processing transactions on the Syscoin blockchain. It might switch into a DAG in this case, or use a conjunction of blockchain and DAG technology. In the case of DAGs, maybe processing merchant payments in this case for faster settlements. Would be very interesting to see. But again, you guys are always welcome to go check out CoinMarketCal and do a filtered search on the companies or projects that you like in the space. Alrighty, so now we've been talking a lot about BAT, guys. This has actually been one of the best performers over the last 24 hours in the sense of the altcoin rebound. It's gone from around 2,200 Satoshis back towards around where I entered in, around 2,900 to 3,000 Satoshis. And a lot of this, I think, over the last few hours has come due to the fact that BAT, or basically the Brave team, is adding more functionality around the BAT ecosystem. And this is due to the fact that you can now tip creators through two major platforms, from Reddit as well as Vimeo. Now, I'm not too crazy about the Vimeo thing. I just don't really see it as a big boost. But what I do see as a big boost is Reddit. If you can get BAT being used in the Reddit community, this is going to get a lot of people on board to the Brave ecosystem. And this is what they need to do. I mean, I've really thought, in my mindset that over the next few months, what they're going to do, the team, basically a lot of the team is originated from the Mozilla team. I think that the Brave team is going to work towards building new platforms, such as video platforms, social media platforms, areas where the BAT token is native in its nature. As much as they've done a great job on YouTube, I think they're going to build so many other different types of ecosystems and ways to bring value to the BAT token. And we can already see there's actual legitimate demand for the token, guys. There's advertisers who actually need to buy the Brave token in this case in order to advertise to the platform. And I get the ads, I see them. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you know, this is something that has been continuously expanding, slowly but steady. And if you take a look at the Bitcoin chart, you know, for example, if we take a look at BAT BTC, take a look here in Bittrex, we can see here that as much as this has bounced around throughout the whole bear market, this has really held up strong against Bitcoin. Not many altcoins have done this, not to mention it's had some really good rallies as well towards, you know, 2 or 3x's in this case, in the sense of valuation. So this is why it's one of my favorite altcoin picks. And I love the strong rebound it's had so far off of the lows. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And again, good to hear there's some positive developments on getting cryptocurrency out there and in the hands of more people. Now, one thing I wanted to share with you guys, I got shared this by some people in my Telegram group. Some people were wondering if I'd talk about this. I'm not going to do a full video on this because not much has changed since this article came out. However, there's a really nice article piece that came out back in April or May of 2019 talking about the whole Tether Bitfinex investigation. And I know a lot of people still have questions on this whole topic of, you know, what happened in the sense of the whole New York Attorney General's office coming out and cracking down on the supposed $850 million worth of Tether lost in the sense of Bitfinex and Tether Limited. Well, I recommend you check through this article. It's got a lot of great depth towards talking about the topic. I read through it this morning and again, kind of refreshed me on a lot of the things that were important to take into mind. A lot of it stems from problems with a company called Crypto Capital. And well, to summarize it, guys, one of their previous exchanges was Quadriga CX. You know, you would think they'd probably remove that from their website if they were a credible company, but hey, I'm not trying to defame anyone. Just letting you know, recommendation, you probably should remove that from your website. This was the fiat processor that had locked up hundreds of millions of the Tether that were supposedly backing, the dollars that were backing Tether. And supposedly, you know, had to freeze it due to the fact that governments, I think it was from the U.S. and Polish governments, like a combination they talk about in the article, that had basically frozen those dollars and traditional payment systems and wouldn't allow for it to be transferred. So very important stuff. Now, speaking of traditional payment gateways and traditional systems, we've got Augustine here from the Bank of International Settlements, and we have himself, the BIS chief, stating that central banks may issue digital currencies sooner than we think. Well, this makes pretty decent sense, guys. We already know, as we've taken a look at data, some of you might have known from a video I did a long time ago, that like 30% of central banks are already considering or exploring digital currencies. We already know that, you know, what could only be seen as a central bank cryptocurrency, basically the e-krona in this case, which has been really in my mind a central bank currency for some time, or a digital version of you know, a traditional currency, a fiat currency, has already been in exploration for some time. And we can see here, there's some quotes from Carstens, in this case, Augustine. It might be that it is sooner than we think that there is a market, and we need to be able to provide central bank digital currencies. Another quote here as well, that was that regulators need to ensure a level playing field between big tech and banks, taking into account big tech's wide customer base, access to information, and broad range business models. So, yeah, guys, I gotta say, you know, I know a lot of people are just instantly negative on the Libra. And I 100% agree. I understand there's a lot of things that I disagree with. And I have this is the same reason why the Libra is going to struggle, because the banking regulators, which are a big tycoon in the sense of power in the world, they are going to try to stop it at all costs, because it is out of the framework of their control to some degree. I mean, like if Facebook keeps pushing this and they keep regulating and lobbying in this case, basically to get through the policies that would benefit Facebook to you know, basically continue expanding with Libra, this is going to lead a huge battle between the traditional financial sector and the big tech companies. It is very fascinating to watch. This is why I always tell people, you know, I think people always simplify their view of the world. It's like, oh, the big banks and the big tech companies, they're working together. No, they're not, guys. You can see right here, the central banks of the world, the BIS, which is the top of the top, it is the central bank of the central banks. It is losing its mind when Augustine has to come out and state that sooner than they think, they're going to have to start launching central bank digital currencies or cryptocurrencies. I know it's not a cryptocurrency. We know that, guys. It's not a crypto. It's a digital currency like they've created in the past. They have to make these moves sooner than they think. This is serious FOMO. this is serious, pressure to start, getting into the space of digital currencies and creating something alternative to a quote unquote US dollar or euro. I'm very interested to see how this turns out, and what central banks are going to do in response to tech companies continuing to expand, as well as the general cryptocurrency market expanding. We're at less than 1% global adoption, guys. What happens when we get to 3 or 5%? What happens when we get to 10, 15, 20%? What are central banks going to try and do? It's a very interesting scenario. So I recommend you check through the article here. It's a quite short one here, but just takes mainly some of the quotes here from the BIS chief. And if you guys don't know what the BIS is, I recommend you read a book entitled The Tower of Basel. Very interesting book. I got to see it firsthand when I went to Basel, Switzerland. It's a very beautiful city. As much as Switzerland is. Switzerland's a wonderful place with a lot of wonderful people who I get to meet on my travels. But the BIS is a very interesting and very secretive organization. But as much as they are secretive, they have to post a lot of their work and research online. So you can learn about what their focus is. You can learn about a lot of the data that they release. So, it's very important to look at what you can find and to understand what the BIS is, what it originally was created for, but also what its purpose is nowadays. It is really the central part of the world when it comes to finance, and I really recommend you guys look into it. So that's going to be it for today's video. A little bit of research for you guys to do, some homework to take away in your free time if you guys are as big of financial nerds as I am. But until the next video, everyone, I'd love to know what you all think down below in the comments. Please leave a comment on what you think about the cryptocurrency valuations at the moment. Do you think the Bitcoin is going to continue to decline? What do you think about the news that we talked about in today's video? That being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.